Welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we're looking at the commodities market. So the commodities market is something you should definitely understand. If you don't understand it, then you don't really know how to trade in Elite Dangerous. And trading can be very easy if you know how to work the commodities market and if you know how the commodity market works in the first place. So we're going to start very simply. Top left, you see the name of the starport you're at. Useful. Make sure to write that down if you're on a little trade route. And also underneath it, you're going to get a little description, and also in brackets the allegiance of the starport. So for instance, we're in an empire system. This is an empire assembly patronage starport. So we've got an industrial economy one we're at right now. That could say agricultural economy. It also is going to mention a population. It could say tiny population. It could say huge population. It could also mention the fact that the station is rich or poor. I don't know if it's going to say poor actually. You might just say it will say rich, but I don't know about it saying poor. Make sure to always check the system view if you're unsure on a starport, what starport is specifically doing. For instance, if we're at this starport here, frontal dock. It's going to mention everything here in much more detail, but generally it's what it shows you on that commodities market page is that little section right there, industrial economy, and it's in the empire system. So simple to understand. For instance, this Harrison hub at the end is an actual huge population agricultural economy. It's going to mention that on the top left of the commodities market page. Very easy to understand. So we can get into the list, and as you can see, it's categorized very simply. And basically on the left we have goods. This is what the starport deals in specifically. It isn't going to show a major list of every single thing in Elite Dangerous. It's only going to show what the starport deals in. For instance, this one deals in industrial materials. That isn't going to be shown in all starports because not all starports are interested in industrial things like this industrial economy starport. Good to know. For instance, it doesn't show minerals either on this list. It shows metals, but some stations won't be interested in metals. There's an agricultural station nearby that I've just shown, and that one is going to want it's going to want specifically some machinery. It isn't going to want all this machinery that this industrial economy produces. It's only going to want a few, so it's only going to show a few. If you bring, for instance, mineral extractors to the agricultural system or to the agricultural starport, it will show it to you and you will have an option to sell it, but it will be beyond low demand. It will be no demand for it, and it will be the lowest price possible that you can sell it at. So make sure you're only dealing, when you're trading around, make sure you're only dealing with what a station actually wants and doesn't want, or doesn't want, isn't it, and is exporting. So the next section is how to describe without describing everything else, so I'm going to kind of just go on to the rest of it. So now we're on to galactic average. This also has a drop down which I'll get into later on, but this galactic average basically is what the item sells for on average around the galaxy. I don't know if these change or not. They could change. I imagine when the persistent universe is properly released on release day that these prices will eventually change, assuming they're not changing already. If not, then that kind of sucks. But anyway, these prices are what the on average is selling for in the universe. Or in the galaxy, I should say, in all 400 billion star systems. So, for instance, and then this price is kind of what the demand and supply is related to. If the demand, for instance, of animal meat is low, then they're not going to want to pay a lot for it. So they're only going to pay 1,313 credits for animal meat, even though the galactic average is 1,454. However, as you can see, synthetic meat has a medium demand, and it's a galactic average price of 318, and 319 is what you'd get for the meat. So, there you go. Medium demand, low demand, and high demand. If we get into some high demand item, for instance, palladium, I think is how you say it, yep. The galactic average is 13,500. They're going to pay a whopping 14,200 for that. So if you wanted to sell palladium here, you'd get the highest value here. High is the highest. No one's going to want more than that unless you go through the bulletin board missions. So there you go. Supply as well. If there is a high supply of food cartridges, for instance, you're going to be able to buy them very cheap here, 47 credits. And of course, to sell them here, there's no demand whatsoever, and there's a huge supply. So to sell food cartridges here is minimal, the lowest value possible. But to buy them, 47, also very cheap. The galactic average for these is 198 credits. If you want to go to a system kind of out in the sticks. There's no industrial places around it. It's just a refinery economy. They're going to pay for food catchers because it's the only food they're going to get. Doesn't matter. They'll pay for it. They won't pay a huge amount still because there'll only probably be a medium demand. No one really wants food catchers that much. But it's going to be more than this. So of course you get high, medium and low demand of supply as well, and of course no supply. So for instance, algae you simply can't buy it at this place. It doesn't get produced, and it isn't massively bought in since it's only on low demand. If for instance there's a high supply, you'll often find, or sometimes find, that there'll also be a low supply of it available that you can actually buy as well. So keep an eye out for that. Sometimes you'll get a system that has an agricultural system and all the other starports in that system also carry, even though they're not related to agriculture, just because there's another agricultural system in the system, another agricultural starport in the system, they will actually bring in a lot of that stuff from the agricultural starport and have a stock of it available for you to possibly buy. Also, sometimes if there is one here, I don't know if there will be, but sometimes you will have a supply of high and a low demand as well. I think it's just a game glitch, not really. If you've got a high supply, you won't really have a low demand, for instance. It should just equal each other out, and there should either be one or the other. Very simple. So that's pricing done. Of course, if you want to sell it, this is your sell column. So this is what you get if you wanted to sell items here, and your buy column, of course, it only depends on if they have stock of it. So for instance, you can buy hydrogen fuel for 204 credits. Cargo, this is what you're containing, so it's very useful. If you don't know what you've got and you can't bother to go over here, take a quick look. Just go in the commodities market, take a quick glance down and see what you have in your cargo hold. And that's it for basics of that. This drop down menu, very useful indeed. So for instance, if I want to know what is being taken to Yun Pugera, it's going to show me. Exported to, it's going to show me that clothing is exported to Yun Pugera. It's going to show me that we export a lot of things to there. However, we also import from Yun Pugera. And as you can see, these have a medium supply, so we're going to pay a little bit for these. And if Yun Pugera produces a lot of these and has a high supply of superconductors, they're going to sell them very cheap to us because they want to get rid of them. They're going to sell them for probably around 6,000 credits. We come here and sell them for 6,900 credits. We've made a profit. Now, the best thing to do with this is find a high population system. And in that system, find 2 starports with high demands and high supplies on loads of things, and then you'll be able to see, or I should be saying, a high population system to a high population system. You'll be able to see that, for instance, we have a high demand here of palladium. We import palladium from Baramat. If Baramat has a high supply of palladium, which is very unlikely since palladium is very, very sought after, but it's probably going to have a low to medium supply of palladium. If I can bring that over here, we are going to pay an absolute bucket load for it. 1,500 profit probably per ton. Very, very, very useful. This is how a lot of people trade. They'll just go to a few systems, find a bunch of them at high population, and see that this system exports here, this system imports here. This is a very useful feature. I actually prefer this imported and exported system to looking at the system map or the galaxy map half the time. Because if you look at the galaxy map and you turn on trade routes, look at that mess. It takes ages to find out what's happening in this system. If you can get to every starport in a system and just do this method, you're going to know exactly what they're dealing in. Not that bloody thing. It doesn't work half the time, in my opinion. This is what works all the time. You're going to know exactly where things are going. So I know that aluminium is definitely coming from some starport in Asura. If I can just go to Asura, check all the starports, I'll see that aluminium is definitely being exported from one of them. Very easy to understand. On the right you'll get a little description of everything, and more detailed, of course, more detailed in everything. You're going to see what your cargo space is, of course. I currently have no cargo. Also your balance. And that is pretty much it. It's very easy to understand once you know everything. Hopefully this video hasn't been too long, and hopefully I've described it as good as possible. Check out my other videos if you're interested in more Elite Dangerous or other types of videos. I'll see you all next time, guys. Thank you very much for watching.